No, it's all right now.
Yes,
sir, it's
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They're coming a lot of information.
Sir, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, very informative. Very informative.
No doubt, sir. It is very informative. It was very informative.
It was quite impressive, sir. In fact, quite.
Yes, sir, it was really good.
Uh, so another what I can add, it was some sort of motivational also.
She was very enthusiastic woman. She is very enthusiastic. Having in the first session is very much give.
yes, sir. Very interesting session, sir.
Sorry. Repeat that.
Colleagues, can you see me and hear me?
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Prashant Ji?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, I'd like to welcome Professor Ravinder Rena. He is actually Professor of Economics, Director, South Africa, and International University. And is a very enough
Sir. Sir. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, sir. So, dear participants, we are extremely privileged to have amongst us Professor Dr. Ravinder Rena, sir, a profound academician and distinguished scholar in economics, writer, editor, advisor, motivational speaker, and public intellectual with over 30 years of teaching and research experience in Asia, Pacific, Africa, and European continents. Professor Rena is currently working as Professor of Economics and Internationalization Project Leader at NWU Business School, Northwest University, South Africa. He serves as an honorary country director, South Africa for the International Internship University. He also serves as an adjunct professor of economics for master's and doctorate programs at Monarch Business School, Monarch University, Hagendon, Switzerland. Sir has bagged many awards and prizes, to name a few. Award for Best Researcher in 2011 from Namibia University of Science and Technology. Man of the Year Award 2012 by the American Biographic Institute, the USA. His profile has been enlisted by the American Historical Society, USA, in the world's Who is Who International. He also serves as the chairman of panel of judges for economics of the Global Undergraduate Award based in Dublin, Ireland, and the UK. He has written 10 books and published more than 130 articles in reputed national and international peer-reviewed journals, and he has 35 book chapters to his credit. Besides, Sir has published more than 150 articles in newspapers and magazines and websites. And Sir has presented over 50 papers in various national and international conferences and seminars. Professor Rena Sir's profile featured in the Global Achievers magazine by magazine July 2021 as a top 10 social leaders who inspires, and also his interview and research work has been featured in leading media outlets across the globe. Nevertheless, Sir is the founding editor-in-chief of an international journal of education, economics and development, which is published by IndaScience UK. He has previously served as an associate editor of the African Journal of Science, Technology, Innovation and Development, published by Taylor and Francis UK, and currently serves as advisory board of the journal. So these two journals are IBS's and Scopus Index journals. Sir serves as an editor and editorial board member for many reputed journals. As per Social Science Research Network, SSRN, the USA, Sir is among the top 1% researchers in the world. His Google Scholar citations are 1073, and Sir has an H index of 20 and I-10 index of 37. Sir is having an experience of traveling to over 40 countries in the world. Sir, we welcome you to the 18th refresher course on economics and business studies. We request you to enlighten our minds with your valuable thoughts and rich experience. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, colleagues and ladies and gentlemen from different parts of India. Thank you, Dr. Reshma, for that kind introduction about me. It is indeed a proud privilege for me to be part of this faculty development program organized by Gauhati University, Assam. And I must thank the Vice Chancellor of the university, and I must thank the Dean and the HOD of the university, and especially my thanks to Professor Sharmaji and Prashant Sharmaji, who invited me, the coordinator of this particular event, who invited me for this event. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's probably time for me in South Africa. It's about 10:15 in the morning, and it is about 1:30 or 1:45 for you in India. So, without wasting much time, I would like to touch upon some of the salient features. The topic of today is the trends that emerged in terms of the business, economics, and the management. So this is a vast topic, actually, as big as the Pacific Ocean, but we need to, pin down some of the important issues pertaining to these three subject areas. So what is happening actually in the world in relation to these subjects? And I know you are all professors, doctors, probably readers and senior lecturers, assistant professors, and so on, are associate professors in your own field, and probably working in different colleges and institutions around Assam and around the country. So I just would like to share with you today that in the first part of my presentation, I'll try to give you the overall picture, how these subjects are looking like and in the global arena, and what are the trends that are being changed over a period of time. And then probably I will also give you the COVID related issues and how the COVID has impacted on these subject areas as well. And then we can open up for a discussion, question and answers, and then you can try to interact with me in terms of questions or clarifications if you got any. So just to take you to the global picture now, uh, we think that world is so big. I just wanted to give you the introduction about the world, how the world looks like. World is not so big, particularly with the advent of this internet revolution. You are sitting in Assam and different corners of India. I'm sitting in South Africa and close to Johannesburg, and I can see you and I can talk to you. You can listen to me and so on. So it's not only that, but the size of the world today or every time is about plus minus 500 million square kilometers land. So 500 million square kilometers land is not so big as such. So with this 500 square kilometers land, we got more than 200 countries that are there in this planet. And out of these 200 countries, they are contributing an income of about 85 to 90 trillion dollars. So I'm telling the statistics probably just before the pandemic begins, maybe about 85 to 90 trillions, and it would be a little bit lesser today than it was 2 years ago. So now we have 200 countries in the world. We got 500 million square kilometers land, and we have got the income that all together, all of us together, we could able to earn per annum. That is, the global income is about 85 trillion. So this is what we understand. Now, among these countries, the richest countries that we have in the world is America, which contributes about 25% of the total income, with about 23.5 trillion contributed by America alone. Whereas we have the other side, second largest economy is none other than our neighbor and our competitor, China, where it was contributing about $14.6 trillion. So now these are the two major economies. Together they contribute more than $40 trillion. That is almost half of the income of this world, ladies and gentlemen. Now the third goes to Japan. Once upon a time, Japan was the second largest economy, and now it became the third largest economy with more than $5 trillion. So if we go to the fourth largest economy, is none other than Germany. And Germany is the European country. We all know that, ladies and gentlemen. It is, if you look at the area size of Germany, for example, we all know Rajasthan, and some of you must be also come from Rajasthan state of India, which is considered to be the largest state in the country. Of course, Madhya Pradesh used to be the largest state. Central India used to be the largest state, if I remember correctly, my geography knowledge or memory. And geography, Madhya Pradesh was the largest state, but because of the divisions of these Uttarakhand and probably maybe Chhattisgarh and other states that are emerged probably about maybe 30 years ago, sorry, 22 years ago. And then eventually Rajasthan became the largest state in the country. So the state probably, presumably, it's about 300,000 square kilometers land. So 3 lakh square kilometer land. And if you look at the Germany, is also by and large the same size actually. But Germany as a country, Rajasthan is a state of India, an integral part of India. Then there's a difference that they are contributing more than $4 trillion income to the global economy. Whereas the fifth largest economy, that is India, we are contributing probably plus minus $2.8 trillion. So much lesser than what Germany is contributing. And our the list goes on. UK contributes probably about 2.6, 2.7 trillions, and so on. Canada, Australia, and list goes on. So this is the globe, how it looks like. So top 10 economies in the world could contribute more than 70% of the total income in this world. So there's a dichotomy. There's a kind of absolute inequality that prevails in the global economic structures. And now, if you look at the other side of the coin, although, as I indicated to you, that size of the economy is not that big enough, size of the economy is not big enough, and size of the earth is also not big enough. Now, country like India, where the India is considered to be the 7th largest country in the whole world. Now, 7th largest country could be a 5th largest economy. So we need to try to think on these lines. And if you look at America is the largest economy, as I mentioned to you just now. American economy was the largest not only in 2020 or 2010 or 1990. It has been the largest economy for more than 150 years, starting from 1870. So 1870 until today, it is the only country which has become the largest economy in the whole world. So we need to think about that. And prior to America became the largest economy, which country was the largest contributor or probably the largest economy in the whole world? Surprisingly, many of us we do not know, and it is none other than beloved India. And India has been remained as the largest economy in the whole world for so many centuries, actually, so many decades. If you probably about 1800 years, it is the largest economy in the whole world. Now, of course, we know the history. I'm not going to take you to the history, but just would like to touch upon some of the important issues here. That Britishers came, and thereafter, before the Britishers' arrival, India as one country, though we have probably different kingdoms and different constituencies and so on and so forth, and though they are contributing 40% of the total income of this world. So you can imagine the situation. America contributes 25% as the largest economy, but we at one stage we were contributing 40% of the global income of this world, global business of this world. So that was probably about 250 years back. Now from 40%, we reduced to 25%, like what America is doing today. From 25%, even if you look at the history, not too long time ago, just more than 100 years ago. If you see, we all know that World War I has started sometime in 1914 to 1918. And if you look at that 1915, during that time, now you see the income that India is contributing to the global economy was 16%. So from 16%, we have been reduced to, when India got independence in 1947, we reduced to 4%. You can imagine the dichotomy and the dynamics, how rapidly things have changed. So now when it happened, ladies and gentlemen, the fact of the matter is that from we were 40%, begin to reduce 25%, and then we reduced to, about 16%, and from 16% we reduced to 4%. Now, what we're contributing, as I indicated to you just now, with about $2.9 trillion, 2.9 trillion dollars we are contributing. So meaning that we are still contributing less than 3% of the global income. So this is the trend that drastically changed over a period of time. This is one side of the story. The other side of the story is that in terms of the global economy, how the global economy is changing rapidly, we need to understand that. So science, technology, innovation, and the subjects and the universities, number of universities also been changed rapidly. And we all know that if we look at the Takshashila University, and we look at probably many universities in India, they are the top 1 universities at one stage before Christ BC period. And then that is the time that foreign scholars are coming to India to study. Now, the trend has been changed. Now, Indian students, on the other side of the coin, we are going, probably India spent more than $6 billion only on the students who are leaving India for higher studies, for bachelor's and master's and PhD programs, either in America or in UK or in Australia or in New Zealand or maybe any other European countries. So the trend has been completely changed. Now, so this is what is happening with the education sector. If you look at the number of universities America has got, for instance, America has got more than 3,500 universities, whereas India has got only, according to the latest statistics, India has got little more than 1,043 universities. For our population, we do not have sufficient number of universities. Of course, we got more than 47,000, 48,000 colleges. So that is trying to cater the needs of the educational needs of our students and probably providing different courses. And we all know that what are the courses that have been offered by Indian institutions and global institutions. So all in all, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to say that we got about 25,000 universities in the whole world. And America has been the largest contributor of not only to the economy, but also to the education sector, having a large number of universities. So that is one we have to think about. The other side, African continent, where I'm sitting today, Africa is the second largest continent in the world, meaning that we have the Asia is the first biggest continent, which covers about 46 million square kilometers land. That is the Asian size. Of course, China alone has got more than 9 million square kilometers land. India close to about 3.2 million square kilometer land. So if you look at the size of African continent, and Africa has got about 30.6 million square kilometers land. So you can imagine that Asia has got 16 million square kilometer land, bigger in size than African continent. Now, this is Africa looks like. So Africa not only second largest, but also in terms of the natural resource base, it is also one of the prominent and one of the potential continents in the world which can contribute. We all love gold, ladies and gentlemen. Now, gold, we are the largest consumers of gold in the whole world. If you realistically look at the global statistics, about 37 to 40% of the gold is consumed by Indians only. Every family, every household, we got so much gold, irrespective of the status of the family, but still there is some element of gold is also there in the home. So this is the gold, where the gold is coming from. Now, for instance, South Africa used to be the largest producer of gold in the whole world for more than 106 years. Now, if you see, starting from 1906, that was, we are talking about maybe 114 years back. So 106 until 2006 or 2007, South Africa is the only country in the world which is the largest producer of gold. Even now you can see Swiss biscuits, South African biscuit, Turkish biscuits, and there are so many other countries' biscuits. Switzerland doesn't produce the gold, but because they extract raw materials, they extract a lot of gold from different other developing countries, including India and including African countries. They take it and they try to stamp it as a Swiss biscuit and made in Switzerland. But the same token, and whereas South Africa is the producer and also the exporter of gold. Now, of course, China has taken over for the past 10 to 13 years down the line. But nonetheless, South Africa is still the largest, one of the largest or leading producers of the gold. So this is one thing I would like to make it clear. Now, if you look at the diamond side, so meaning that Africa is a continent which is contributing about 57% of the total gold of this world, or total gold deposits of this world is centered within the African continent. That is more than 50%, you can imagine. Now, look at the diamonds, which is also, we look at the Kohinoor diamond, considered to be one of the largest diamonds, which the Britishers have stolen from us, obviously. Now, Kimberley, which is probably about 350 kilometers far away from the city where I'm sitting, Mafeking or Mahikeng, Northwest Province. From that Kimberley, we used to have one of the largest producers of diamond companies at one stage. Now, diamonds in Africa in general, if you talk about, we have got more than 55 to 60% of the total diamond deposits of the world are centered in African continent. So we can look into the dichotomy. We can look into the structure and the system where Africa is standing in terms of the precious natural resource base. We know Liberia. Liberia is considered to be the poorest country in the whole world. Ladies and gentlemen, if you go to Liberia, you get a lot of diamonds there. And you go to DRC Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, where we can see there's a lot of people, 80% of the people living below poverty line. It's one of the biggest countries in African continent. And DRC Congo also contributes a huge amount of diamonds or diamond business in the whole world. So according to the recent estimates made by some of the international organizations, DRC Congo alone has got more than 25 trillion worth of natural resource base. So we need to think about that. Now, having 25 trillion worth of natural resources, but DRC Congo is still considered to be the poorest country in the whole world. Maybe among the top 20 poorest countries, DRC Congo also may be listed. So we do have all these changes, trends that are being changed so rapidly because of the advent of the globalization and because of the advent of the colonization, because of the advent of the new colonization that we are seeing today. So this is how the paradigm shift, this is how the trend has been changed. We all been colonized. There are except two countries in the world. One is in African continent, one is Ethiopia and Liberia. These are the only two countries that were never been colonized by any European masters. India was colonized, China was colonized, Indonesia, every country in the world, directly or indirectly, were in the colony of either Britishers, who are the major colonial masters, or they are Germany people. Namibia, where I was working probably some time back, it was a German colony. We got Portuguese people, we got French people, they are Francophone Africa. There are 15 to 16 countries were colonized by French people alone. We got Belgium colonies, we got Dutch colonies. So this is how the whole of the world has been colonized one way or the other way. So this is about the colonization process and how these people, they are trying to hold the natural resource base in terms of the global companies. Even Lakshmi Mittalji from India, they also set up so many companies in Namibia, in South Africa, in different parts of African continent. You can see lots of companies set up by Lakshmi Mittal. So like that, the French, Dutch, UK, Canadian, Australian, all these companies also trying to have the hold. And when there is an extraction of the gold, it is not that probably the country is getting the fame or name, it is the country which is owning fame. So this is something, the business trend has been changed rapidly over a period of time. So this is one thing that I'd like to share with you. The other thing also, so meaning that African continent has become, although we study even in social sciences at the school level, at grade 7th or grade 8th, 9th, 10th, at school level, most of our fellow colleagues who are sitting and attending this event here, they all studied Africa is a dark continent. Even myself, while I was a student of grade 7, grade 8, I still remember that Africa is a dark continent. That's what I read about. But what dark and definition of dark is completely different actually. So if you come to South Africa, for instance, and you won't see the difference between any European country, or you won't see any difference between South Africa and America or Australia or any other country, any other developed country. That means. So meaning that what we see in the eyes of the society, in the world, eyes of the people, the ground reality, they are too different. Of course, if we go to Somalia, we go to Malawi, we go to Burkina Faso, we go to Burundi, and maybe some other countries in African continent, Zimbabwe. At one stage, Zimbabwe considered to be the top 10 economies in African continent. Now it is up and down. So we do Niger, Chad, these are the countries considered to be very poor. I totally understand that. But the paradigm, the face of African countries, like particularly South Africa, you will see Cape Town is considered to be the top 10 destinations in the whole world. One can imagine that. So there are lots of Indian tourists. They do come to South Africa just for traveling purpose, just for visiting purposes. So one can imagine that. We do have so many tourist places, particularly in terms of the game drives, maybe sanctuaries. In India, we look at the zoological parks where the animals are kept in the cages. But here, animals, they walk freely. We have Kruger National Park, for instance, in South Africa, where you can, even to cover Kruger National Park, at least it takes 2 to 3 weeks time, just the national park only. You just drive for the days together just to watch the animals. Animals, lions and elephants and other wild animals, they just walk freely. So that is the kind of system that has been developed. Wildlife in African continent is totally different from the wildlife of other part of the world. So this is one indication I would like to give. So what I would like to state here is that African continent as seen as a dark continent, as a backward continent, as underdeveloped continent, as underprivileged continent, but they don't know how much Africa can offer to the world. The future of this world is in the hands of African continent, actually. So one has to understand this point. That is why most of the world is coming to Africa to do the business. So the point I was making it clear here is that the natural resource base. Now we talk about the platinum deposits. So of course, diamonds, platinum, gold, that is the order that we used to follow. But because the global market nowadays, the prices of platinum are dropped down and they have become more cheaper than the gold, particularly for the past 3-4 years. You can look at the global bullion market trends, how it is happening, and then one can understand that. So the order is changing now. Maybe we have to redefine the order, like diamond jubilee celebrations we make with 100 years, 75 years we used to make platinum jubilee, and 50 years is golden jubilee. So that has to be 25 years is silver jubilee. So that order has to be redefined because of the price that changed over a period of time. If you look at the platinum deposits, ladies and gentlemen, and there Africa is known for the platinum deposit. Maybe about 70% of the platinum of this world is centered in African continent, particularly in South Africa, in the province where I'm sitting, that is popularly known as Northwest Province. You can Google about it. And Northwest Province is also known as a platinum province. So major portion of the platinum deposits are also centered in this part of the world. So this is particularly for the business purposes. If somebody would like to maybe start any business or explore any business, and maybe one can look at that kind of opportunities here. I think somebody is raising the hand. Can I, Shambaji Yadavji, I can see your hand is raised. Would you like to interact with me, or should we complete and then you can interact? Can you just come out? Professor Sharma ji, can you hear me? Yes. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So this is particularly in terms of the global economy, how the trend is being changed over a period of time. Now, when it comes to the subjects that we have, of course, we have numerous subjects that while I was a student, I never even studied, I never even heard about nanotechnologies and artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data, and probably we talk about several virtual augmented realities and so on and so forth. So many things that we never ever heard about. Now it has been changed so rapidly. Now, while I was doing my master's and PhD, sometimes in 1990s, and the computer that I saw for the first time in my department at Osman University, Hyderabad, India, that was a MS-DOS computer, which the capacity of the computer is only 32 megabytes. Now, 32 megabytes, ladies and gentlemen, nowadays you can take a picture with your phone. Sometimes your phone itself can have more than 32 megabytes, actually. A picture of the size of the picture itself will be 32 megabytes. So we changed a lot within this particularly 20-25 years or 26 years down the line. There are radical changes that have occurred. Now, the field of study is still management, accounting, finance, economics, and business. So these are entrepreneurship. So these are the fields that are considered to be, important courses or important focused areas of study in the whole world, not only in India, but in the whole world. although there are certain changes. Now, let me touch something about economic theories. If we look at the economic theories, and there are economics professors sitting here, we talk about Adam Smith, who is considered to be the father of economics, for instance, and is a classical economist, starting from 1776, when he writes a book called Wealth of Nations. And he defined the economics inquiry into the nature and the causes of wealth of nations. So that is the definition. And thereafter, we have so many changes that are occurred. We got so many classical economists like J.B. Say, we have, and maybe J.S. Mill and many other economists they followed. So thereafter, the trend has been changed, and the classical economists begin to think that it is the market economy, it is the laissez-faire economy, where the supply creates its own demand. You don't need to do anything, you just produce the goods and you just leave it there, and then the demand automatically generates. So that is their firm belief, and that's what had happened. Of course, we always can debate, and there are so many schools we have across the globe who are believing on the classical economic theories, neoclassical economic theories, like modern economic theories like Keynesian theory. So there is so much trend that has been changed over a period of time, particularly for the past 200 plus years. Now, when it comes to the modern economic theorists like monetarists and so on, we are not going to touch about the Milton Friedman restatement about the monetary economics. And whereas the Keynesian economic theory, and Keynesian economic theory, that was basically Keynes, John Maynard Keynes. Nobody knows about John Maynard Keynes actually, but when America went into the Great Economic Depression, starting from 1929 to 34, about 5 years period, ladies and gentlemen, American economy is struggling with lots of challenges, particularly with high unemployment rate. The unemployment rate increased within a short span of period, more than 30%. And the production, the GDP or the national production of America during that particular 5 years period will also decline more than 30%. Now, the president of America didn't understand economics, because most of the presidents in the world, they are politicians, but none of them are political economists or economists or finance people or so on and so forth. So they called James Keynes and asked that, what should we do? We have a terrible situation which we never experienced. And then James Keynes was suggesting that we all know that James Keynes wrote a book, General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money. And so around 1936 it was published, of course, just after the Great Economic Depression period. But James Keynes, he was just for fun, he was telling or advising the American president that digging the pits and filling them up. So that's what you do to fix this problem. And president didn't understand. And can you just explain in broadly? Then he began to say that the government aggregate expenditure must be increased substantially. So when we increase the government expenditure, one side, that will stimulate the economic growth on the other side. So meaning that you try to undertake mega projects within the country, maybe building the airports, building the ports, building the road networks, building the railway networks, and so on and so forth. Once you begin to do that, so eventually you are employing the people who are unemployed yesterday. When they are employed today, they get some money, and eventually they wanted to buy things of their choice. When they bring not only the food items that they buy, but they buy the clothes, they want to buy household equipment, they want to buy technological devices, they want to buy anything that they want. So eventually there will be a spillover effect, meaning that it's not only there are certain commodities demand is increasing, but basically many other commodities demand also been consistently increasing. That will still stimulate the growth of those industries and also the employment of within those industries. So that's what the suggestion was given. And even now, probably we do have so many other economic crisis, financial crisis that we experienced in 2007, 2008. also we got a crisis. When we have the crisis, and James Keen's theory was, although James Keen left the world long time back, but we still remember James Keen's or Keynesian theory, and that is the aggregate demand and aggregate supply. These are the two major things that could able to set the economy back to the normality. So that is the kind of scenario. And of course, even the situation that we look at the pandemic, I'd like to, in the interest of time, I'd like to touch upon the pandemic issue here. The pandemic, indeed, for the past, starting from 2009 December, and we just completed 2 years, little more than 2 years, 2 months. The pandemic has created so much havoc in the whole world. And as of today, more than 400 million people got infected by this COVID-19 virus. And out of that, 5.7 million people officially were being killed by this virus. And of course, America is always in the forefront, in not only in terms of economy, in terms of technological advancement, in terms of all the development that we see, space technologies and so on, but we also see in terms of the COVID-19, they stood number one. America alone, out of 331 million people living in America, that is the American population, and we got 77 million people got infected. So that is more or less the population of Odisha, for example, and more or less the same size of the population of Uttar Pradesh. So 77 million people got infected only in America. More than 900,000 people, that is 9 lakhs people, were killed by the virus for the past 2 years. So we need to understand that. And then the second country, none other than India, India has got probably about 44 million people got infected, and about more than 500,000 people died. 500,000 people died by the virus in India itself. Now the list goes on. The other countries, Brazil, got maybe about 23 million people, maybe 630, 640,000 people died there. And France, 20 million, UK, and all those countries will follow. In South Africa alone, for instance, South Africa is number one in terms of infection rates and in terms of death rates in the whole of African continent. At one stage, probably a little more than a year ago, South Africa remains number 5th country in the whole world in terms of infections and deaths. So now that has been changed. Now in the whole of African continent, where we got the population of about 1.37 billions, that is almost the same size of Indian population. And from that 1.37 billion people in African continent, the number of infections is less than 12 millions. Now in France alone, France has got a population of 62 million people, whereas the infections are already crossed 20 millions. So Africa is a continent, the number of infections are less than 12 millions. So one has to think about this. So now the immunity, all those things I'm not going to talk. I'm not an epidemiologist or scientist who deals with these diseases and pandemics. So I'm just trying to give, as an economist, as an economics professor, I would like to give you a perspective what is happening in the African continent, in the rest of the world. So 12 millions, and the number of people killed in African continent is less than what it was killed in Russia, what it was killed in India, what it was killed in Brazil, and so on. So in the whole continent, we got less than 250,000 people got. And out of the 250,000 people, close to 96 to 97,000 or nearly 100,000 people, 1 lakh people killed only in the land where I'm working and staying, that is South Africa. So this is about the pandemic. The pandemic has created lots of challenges and lots of issues for us in terms of the studies, in terms of the curriculum development, in terms of the management, in terms of the working environments, or in terms of the business, in terms of the economy, in tourism, transportation, food industries, everywhere, it created a lot of havocs. So just to give you some snapshot view, in terms of the businesses, the business world is completely devastated because India alone has got more than 63 million MSMEs, and majority of those MSMEs, they got the heat of this kind of maybe virus and the disease. So this is one side of the story. In South Africa alone, more than 3 million people got unemployed. In India alone, more than probably 15 crore people, that is more than 150 million people got unemployed. And our economy reduced its size for more than 24%. So this is what has happened. Now, the global economy was growing at the rate of 3.5% on an average. Now that has been reduced drastically. Now, Indian economy at one stage, it was growing at the rate of 7 to 7.5%. Now we reduced to less than 3% actually. So these are the things that are happened in terms of the business, in terms of the management. Management practices also been changed drastically, particularly in the management arena, ladies and gentlemen. If you look at the management as a course, the Harvard Business School maybe is considered to be one of the top rated business schools in the world. And the business school has only started probably sometime in 1870s, just before 1900. So it's a little more than 150 years history. Business education, management education was not that popular actually. Even in India, for instance, if you take some of the business schools like we have XLRI Business School, maybe the Delhi School of Economics. Within that, there is a business school that was set up. There are only few business schools that are started the business related courses. That was only about 1950s, early part of 1950s, maybe 55, 56, somewhere thereafter independence. Now, the whole of business education in the whole world, Harvard Business Education, for example, is started sometime in 1910. Now, we have a Wharton Business School, and all those business schools, they are plus minus with about 10 to 20 years difference, they started the business school. So business school education is not that so popular before 150 years back, but it was only gaining momentum. In India alone, more than 3,000 business schools are established. So this is the trend that has been changing over a period of time within the business management education. Now, we are talking about AMBA, Association of Master of Business Administration. We have EQUIS, we have got many other accreditation agencies, 3 Crown, and there are only, within AMBA also, there are only 270 business schools across the globe that are associated with AMBA, are accredited by AMBA. EQUIS also by and large less than 300. So this is what is happening within the business education, but I'm not going to touch all those details right now because of the interest of time. Now, I would like to give you overall perspective that the business education and maybe the accounting finance education and the management education, they always possess that they are the important educational areas one can pursue. And even you can advise your own students that if you look at the American job market, for example, there are so many engineers are also there. Economics and business management is also competing with the engineering education, science-related education. So there are economists who are getting more jobs in American economy, probably in different other parts of the world, more than some of the courses that are technologically oriented, science oriented courses. So they got better job opportunities than some of those. For instance, somebody has completed a chartered accountancy, for instance. Chartered accountancy is basically, it's like a commerce and maybe economics related courses. So somebody has completed a BSc degree, and so the one who got chartered accountancy, the one who got BCom degree with normal government accounting, or maybe probably management accounting, cost accounting, advanced accounting. So they get better salaries and better job opportunities than the other side of the coin. So with this, a few insights and ideas from my side, I would like to thank Professor Prashant Sharma ji and the Gauhati University And I must also thank all of you who are taking part in this faculty development program. And so I'd like to once again thank one and all, and we will try to interact with you with any particular questions that you have. Thank you.
Hello, sir. Hello. Hello.
Yes, Jamir,
Yes,
Jamir
sir.
Ahmed, I
I
can
am
see
Jamiruddin
you.
Ahmed. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Jamir, go ahead. Yes, sir.
I am Jamiruddin Ahmed, sir. Sir, I have an anxiety to know in your statement, in your speech, you have told that African continent has lost larger human beings rather than the other countries of the world, the COVID-19 pandemic. Is it for proper and efficient medical setup, or for what reasons are behind this scenario?
Thank you, Hamadji, for that question. Well, actually, you see, African people, they work hard to live for today, meaning that they do not have wealth that the rest of the world they have. So they work hard on daily basis, maybe as agricultural laborers or agricultural farmers, or maybe gardeners or scavengers or whichever capacity they are. So maybe the immune capacity of these people, because they are working hard, they are exposed to the sun and they exposed to different other environments. So the immune capacity must be more robust than the other people. Now we all working, majority of us, we are also agricultural farmers because India was basically agro-based economy. And now we used to produce agriculture sector of India in the beginning of independence was contributing more than 60%. Now we are not even contributing 20-21% to the probably to the national economy. So, but in Africa, majority of the African countries, there are countries they still depend upon agriculture for the almost 70 to 80% for their main standard. So I begin to assume that maybe the immunity of the African people is more prone to resist or more prone to fight the disease. That is why in Nigeria, for example, Nigeria has the largest populated country in the whole of African continent, which is close to the same size of Pakistan, for instance. Now, Nigeria has got plus minus about 215 to 220 million people living there in Nigeria. Nigeria stand number 6th or 7th position in terms of infections. Nigeria as a whole country, the infection rate was less than 250,000. So that is what my probably predicament, my argument that African people, because of their immunity power, the infections are less and also the killing is also much lesser. So there are Ebola, for instance. Ebola is a pandemic which was emerged in African continent about few years ago. That in DRC Congo and few other countries in Africa, in Nigeria also, the killing rate of Ebola was deadly. At least it was more than 14%. Whereas this particular disease pandemic, the killing rate is less than 1%. So I was even delivering few lectures, and maybe there are so many people they agree with me that we cannot consider this COVID-19 as a pandemic. Actually, if you look at the number of infection, 400 million people and 5.7 million people got killed. If you calculate that, it is less than 1%. So if it is less than 1%, it's just like any other flu. And we have cancer diseases, for example, that was killing more than million and a half people in every quarter. We got heart attacks are killing. We got accidents are killing. We got HIV/AIDS is killing more people than this pandemic actually. So we cannot consider this as a pandemic in my view. So Ahmadji, I don't know whether I could able to give you that answer. Whether you have any following question for that.
Yes, sir.
I
Yes, sir.
would
I am
appreciate.
satisfied. I am satisfied, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Sir, this is the Tatre Yadav.
Yes.
Sir, I really glad and influenced from your lecture that you deliver. Sir, as I come to know that you are also faculty in the Monarch University in the Switzerland. Okay. So, sir, I
Yes,
just
sir.
wanted to, so as you are working in an international university at a professor position, so you must have find the changes in the Indian universities. There is a change in the functioning administration. So, if I ask you that what kind of changes actually we Indians require, so we can also compete for QS ranking or the uh, other international ranking, etc.
Yeah, that is a very good question. Thank you very much. Well, yeah, indeed, I worked in different continents of the world, as you have listened to my profile. I was in Australian continent, I was in African continent, European continent, so on, and of course, North American continent as well. The challenge here we have is that our people are more hardworking and more smart, more intelligent people actually. But when it comes to the educational curricula that we have, what I studied 30 years ago and what our fellow colleagues and you all also studied, some of you even much senior to me, what we studied 30 years, 40 years ago, and what we are teaching our children today, we didn't change much, though there is so much has been changed. Now we still begin to believe on the by-hearting system. What you throw in terms of the content, the students, they need to just by heart it and they need to reproduce it without even understanding the intricacies and the managerial use of that particular content, what they study in their day-to-day lives. So the practicality of our pragmatism, that has been missing actually. If you look at the Bloom's taxonomy, and Bloom's taxonomy always says that we got higher ordering thinking skills and we got lower order thinking skills. So reading, understanding, and analysis, that is the basic thing. Whereas we need to think evaluating, we need to think about synthesizing and creating, or probably criticizing and creating. So that is the higher order thinking skills. Now, through my observation, Dattatreya, is that so we're still focusing on basic level without looking into our people are more intelligent. We have seen that Aryabhatta, who invented zero from India, that zero is helping, although zero itself doesn't make any kind of value. But the zero, when you add to one, it will make some value. Or if you put 5 zeros after one, it will make 1 lakh, it will create more value. So even Einstein himself agreed that because of all the scientific discoveries, innovations that are being made in this world today is very much possible only because Indians are the one who invented that zero. If the zero was not been invented, probably the scientific discoveries would not have made any kind of sense today. So that is the kind of perception. But in general, what I would like to, in a snapshot view, we need to change. Of course, we have the new education policy that was designed and that was going to be implemented very soon. So we need to change that curricula and the system and the structure in par with the other countries in the world. For instance, US people, all the people working in USA, they all come from India or China or from Africa or other developing world. And Americans in general, they are not smart people as such. So it is the people who migrated to America, they are the one making America as a rich country, obviously. But the thing is that we need to understand why the Indian institutions like IIMs and IITs of India, they are considered to be the two eyes of India, actually. They are considered to be the premier institution. But IITs and IIMs in India, they are ranking below than my university from South Africa. Then we need to question that. So there are university like UCT. Colleagues, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, UCT, for example.
Yes, sir, audible.
University of Witwatersrand, University of Stellenbosch, University of Pretoria, University of KwaZulu-Natal, University of Northwest. These institutions are ranking much better than our IITs and IIMs of India. Why? Because we don't care about the research. If a faculty member does a research, for instance, no HOD or no dean or no vice chancellor is going to applaud him or appreciate him by thanking him or giving him some kind of motivation. May not be in terms of money, but at least some kind of encouragement. But it doesn't happen in Indian scenario. Whereas in South Africa, if I publish one article in an accredited journal, maybe Scopus Index or Web of Science Index or IBSS or ABDC ranking journal, and then about 120,000 rand, which is about 6 lakhs to 6.5 lakh rupees, is given for that article from the government to the university. From that amount, probably they may give us about 20,000 rupees or 25,000 rupees to our account, where we can use it for attending conferences or doing further research, data collection purposes, or buying some softwares like SPSS and EViews. So that is very much possible. But in India, how many institutions? Only IITs and IIMs, they are spending thousands and thousands of crores. But what is the outcome of it? The IITs and IIM professors, they must take University of Gauhati or many other universities in the country. They adapt them. They need to train them. They need to work together with those professors from other universities in the country. That's how we need to. If I give you a hand, then I can try to pull you up. That's what is important. I cannot use my leg to pull you down, actually. So that needs to be changed. In Indian scenario, I've seen so many vice chancellors. I'm not a politician, but I'm just sharing, and you all know better than me because I left India more than 25 years ago, and I do not know the current system and current trend, what is happening actually with the bureaucratic procedures. We need to encourage our people. Our people, they got a lot of potential in them and a lot of talent in them. So once we begin to encourage them, they will come up. If they come up, you as a vice chancellor, you are the head of the institution. You are the one who is going to get benefit actually, more than that particular person. Your institution get credit. The country in general get credit. But if you try to suppress him, begin to push them down, and then there's nothing. There is no innovation. There is no scientific discoveries can ever be made actually. So we need to change that, ladies and gentlemen. We need to give priority. For instance, we give priority for the research. That is why we are among the top 500 institutions in the whole world. Our Indian institutions, IITs, IIMs, and even probably we have Banaras Hindu University, is also one of the top ranking universities in the country. And many universities, they are always among the top 2,000 universities in the world. That is not acceptable. So that needs to be changed. We need to give priority for the pragmatism, practical oriented training actually. It's not about just teaching. If you teach, if I speak today, then majority of the content that I'm speaking, it will be listened with one ear and it will be gone with the other. So that needs to be changed. When I begin to watch something, and maybe you are watching and you are listening to me, so that will have some impact. Whereas if you are asking the students to do or learning by doing, that will have a major impact. So that kind of changes we need to make. We cannot depend upon what Macaulay has introduced 1837, more than 170 years ago. So we need to see what is needed according to the current changing scenario. And then we need to change the curriculum. We need to change the way we train the people, the method we use in terms of teaching. So these are the things that we need to adjust. I think I don't know whether I answered your question, sir.
Yes, very well, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Go ahead,
am I audible?
You are audible. If you want to put up your video, you are welcome to put up your video so that I can see you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm an assistant professor in one of the best schools in Mumbai.
Yes,
My
sir.
question is research scenario, as you explained, it is it is not motivating. Yeah, I'm trying to on it, but my internet is not that good. So
Okay, sir.
yeah, yeah. The research scenario in India is not that motivating.
Yes, sir.
As we can see, most of the research is of academic interest only. So if you want to keep us motivated in this environment for doing the industry oriented research in field of management, so how we should go ahead, like in keeping us ourselves motivated. And another question is the personal interest, like if I want to contact you in regards of research, so can I do it from my end, if there is any chance on that?
Machendraji, thank you very much for that comment and the question. That yes, with regard to your first point, in order to encourage the people, we all human beings, and all the human beings, they need recognition, they need love, they need some kind of motivation.
Yes,
So
sir.
these are the three things every human being, whether they are Bill Gates or Warren Buffett or maybe Bezos or probably the richest man from South Africa is Elon Musk. Everybody, whether they're rich or poor, every human being, whether they are vice chancellor or lecturer or a peon or a security guard, everybody needs these three things. We need to love the people, express your love and gratitude. We need to show the kindness and we need to encourage. So that is what recognition is important. Now they don't need to give you like what South African government is giving 6 lakhs for one article. They don't need to give you that.
Yes, sir.
India cannot afford to do that. But at least asking them that okay, whoever is published, that we give them an award, best researcher of the faculty or best researcher of the institution, an award, and maybe with some kind of certificate or maybe a token of 1,000 rupees or 500 rupees, something like that. That is the recognition. So you don't need to spend a lot of money. And people, people of our country, they go extra mile. Not in other part of the world, they don't do that. If it is for 8 o'clock morning, we start the work and 4:30 we finish the work. If they wanted to sign some document, they will just put the pen down. They leave the work. They look at the time, but we don't look at the time actually. If it is day, night, Saturdays, Sundays, festival days, your own birthday, your own children's birthday, everybody's birthday, we don't care. And once the work is given, we will try to do that until it completes to your satisfaction, to the institution satisfaction. So when we have that much commitment, that much sense of responsibility, and a stimulation, a motivation, and then you are doing a great job. Please go ahead with that. And your boss tells you that, that is a great motivation for you. Wow, my boss is recognizing my effort. That's it. And no. Then they begin to discourage you, begin to suppress you in different strategies and this and that. That is not acceptable, actually.
Yes, sir.
If you grow, I'm also growing.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes.
we grow together, hand in hand. That is the concept. So when I pull you up, you're also coming up with me. And when you grow up, one day I need your help.
Yes, sir.
And you are going to assist me with that. So that is the way that if every human being thinks, this is the simple thing. We don't need any mathematics or statistics or econometrics to teach about this thing. It's a human tendency, human thought process, human attitude. If we change this a small thing, that will make a major difference, not only in our lives, but in the global economic development.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Machandraji.
Yes,
And
sir.
with regard to your other question,
Yes, sir.
Machandraji, you can always interact with me. It's a matter of half a minute for you. You just write my name in the Google. You'll find my email address or phone number, my WhatsApp number, everything you will find there. Then you can always, send me an email, and then we can try to, there are a lot of people from different corners of the world interact with me. The best thing I can give you is that I may not give you the money that you need. I may
Right, sir.
not give you the expertise that you need, but I can give you my time that I cannot get in my life, whatever the time that I given you. So that I can always create time for you.
Yes, sir. That will be very great for us, sir. Yes.
Sure, Machandra. Thank you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Thank
sir,
you.
may I? Sir, as we have seen, you have over 1,000 number of citations, and your H index is I-20. So, sir, as researcher, I just like to share my experience with you that often it happens that since English is our not first language, so many a times it happens that we send article
And the reviewers, they do not comment on the content or the methodology of the article, but often we receive comment on the quality of reading. They comment that the readability of the paper is lacking. So here it becomes a challenge that the content is not a problem, methodology is not a problem, but readability becomes an issue. So English not being our first language, how we can come over this problem, sir? So as a researcher, this I would like your suggestion in this regard, sir, if you may
Dr.
kindly.
Reshma, yeah, Dr. Reshma, I think that's a very good and very valid question that we all need to understand that. For instance, I come from Telugu medium. Until my first degree, in my certificate also it was written medium of instruction is Telugu. And when I started my master's degree, and I don't know, I was thinking that seriously that no, I must do something, I must change. Then I begin to, I wrote to I was allowed to write either in Telugu master's degree, Telugu medium, or I'm allowed to write in English medium. So I decided to go English medium route. Although nobody taught me English, I don't even know at one stage, what is your name, how are you, thank you, these simple words I do not know. So I just started, embarked my journey that no, I must, if I want to bring a change in me or change in my lifestyle, I must change myself first. Otherwise, nobody is going to change me. I have to change. That is why Mahatma Gandhi also said that whatever change that you want to see in the world, the change should also come from you as an individual. Then everybody begin to think the change, and then the positive outcome will come that we can also change. So it's not a rocket science, Reshmaji, that majority of our people, of course, we got close to 1.4 billion people in our country. And out of 1.4 billion people, surprisingly, less than 10% people, they speak English, proper English. So English is not our mother tongue. Of course, we've been, as a colonial master, they imposed English. If somebody speaks good English, they are the most intelligent people. This is how the world thinks, which is not true. You got your own knowledge, your own wisdom, your own dexterity, your own insight. But not because of the language that you are considered as inferior, or because somebody speaks good English with proper pronunciation, they consider to be intelligent. Not true. So with regard to your question, it happens actually. Even Abhijit Banerjee, our Indian born and brought up Nobel laureate a couple of years ago, Abhijit Banerjee, when he sent his article is rejected. Even as early as probably not long time back, maybe 15, 16 years ago, when he submitted an article, it was rejected. For your surprise, my article that I sent last month, January, my article is rejected. So rejection is part of our life. We must accept the rejection first, number one. Number two, my only sincere advice would be that our people, actually, if you look at the history, go to the Oxford University or any other English-speaking universities in the world, you can often see that Indian beat Englishman in English. You just write down in Google, you'll find it. So Indians are that capable. We don't know English is not our mother tongue, but we will make sure that through our hard work, we can learn English better than an Englishman. We can beat that Englishman in the English subject itself. That much capable we are. So the only thing what you need to do is that, Reshmaji, you need to keep learning because it's not our mother tongue, number one. Number two, there's nobody is perfect in this world. And if you go to America, we say America is the English-speaking country. More than 80 million people in America, they don't speak English, for your surprise. So they speak either Spanish, or they speak a lot of other languages. So that is the kind of scenario. You need to improve your language capacity. Just spend some time. Try to understand the grammatical patterns, actually. The proper grammar we learn. And probably after you do that, once you have that, then try to learn the vocabulary. So it is a journey. It cannot happen. Rome is not built, or New Delhi, or Mumbai, or Gauhati was not built in one night. It is a process it has taken. So you as a researcher, you got a lot of potential. When your methodology is, a lot of people, they feel as a chief editor for almost 2 decades of experience, I can say that a lot of people lack with the methodological issues. They don't have a proper methodology. They don't have a proper hypothesis. They don't have a proper research questions. and maybe the proper arguments actually. So that is where the lack. When you have all those things, but when you do not have a language, the language is only a little portion, and you can always try to improve on that language part. Sorry. The other suggestion I like to give is that Grammarly is there. There are so many software that we have. They can try to help you a little bit, but you help yourself. That will become your pride actually. If you use, even there are language experts across the country, even among your colleagues, if somebody is good, but they are going to charge. Sometimes they may not give you a committed kind of job that they're supposed to correct the language. They will just put full stop, commas here and there. They may not change much. They may charge you the money. So that is why you want to be a researcher, and language is also equally important. And therefore, you can do it. You can do better than myself, better than anybody else, if you committed for that. So with that, I think advise Reshma ji. I don't know whether I addressed your question.
No, no, sir. You have rightly pointed it out, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I'm really glad, sir. Very glad, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Reshma. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sir? Okay, sir. I propose vote of thanks. Okay, sir.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon to all. I am G. Radha from Tamil Nadu. I have very privileged to have the pleasant task to propose vote of thanks for this section. Our resource person, Professor Ravinder Rena, Professor of Economics from South Africa, shared very intrinsic ideas regarding emerging trends in business economics and management. Sir started his lecture with the various positions of Indians' world's economy and their educational status. Then Sir pointed very clearly that how the trends changed at the global level in all spheres, and also he quoted various innovations in economic theories. Sir stressed the importance of implementing the various new projects and the scope of economics and commerce students in employment opportunities all over the world. On the whole, from his lecture, we are able to know about the current scenario of trade management and commerce due to COVID-19. We are all gifted to have such a resource person. On behalf of HRDC of Gauhati University and all of our participants, I convey my special and sincere thanks to our resource person. Thank you very much, sir. Then I would like to express our deep sense of gratitude to the organizer of this program, Professor Sharma sir, for taking an excellent effort to conduct this program. Finally, I'm very happy to express vote of thanks to all our participants that has made this section a grand success through their active participation and also for their presence. Once again, I convey my special and sincere thanks to all those participants and the organizers of the program. Thank you for the opportunity given to me. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Professor
Thank you
Sharma
so
ji.
much,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for wonderful session. We are motivated, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, sir.